Hey, what's up everybody? Welcome back to game number 5 of the Warlock series. Hope you are all enjoying it so far. Currently playing against a Shaman, and I can tell you guys this game is a treat. It's going to be a game where there's going to be a lot of thinking involved, a lot of clutch plays, and yeah, just overall a very interesting game. Some PogChamp moments. PogChamp! This hand is actually kind of interesting. So we want to keep the Blood Imp and the Haunted Creeper because they're just really good in the early game. As we have seen, Blood Imp with another 1-drop just makes for a very, very fun early game. Jungle Panther can stay as well, and to be honest, Volcanic Drake can also stay. This is a interesting hand where we kind of set ourselves up to be a little bit cheesy. We're like, okay, we've got this Haunted Creeper thing. We've got this Jungle Panther, which he probably can't interact with, and we can just trade in. So we're right now with this hand, we're aiming to use that Volcanic Drake on turn 4 after we trade in our Panther, making the Volcanic Drake cost only 4 mana. 4 mana, 6/4, pretty good. We do get the Dream, we do get that Chow, so Chow with a Blood Imp is just a really, really fun opening. It's something we've done earlier in the run, and it's exactly what makes Blood Imp a good card. A lot of people go like, "Ugh, Blood Imp terrible." I mean, it's playable. There's no, I mean, when you get this, oh my god, suddenly it's a pretty good card. Okay, so we kill his totem, we develop the Amani. You could develop the Creeper here, but I think I would develop a little bit more power so we can deal with a Spider Tank. Let's say if our Amani gets the buff here, and he plays a Spider Tank, we can actually double trade into the Spider Tank without losing anything, and we get an enraged Amani. That's pretty sweet. If he drops an Ogre Brute and he buffs our Zombie Chow, we can still take out the Ogre Brute with only losing the Amani. And, you know, if the trade is unfavorable, we just ignore it and we go face. So it's not terrible. But as you see, there was a lot of debate going on of like Creeper versus Amani, but the more we talked about the upside of the buff going on to the Amani, double trading into Spider Tank, just having that 4 damage ready to deal with anything is pretty good. Alright, discard Totemic into memes. Oh god, I don't like what that card did to the meta. It's just like, alright, fingers crossed, 1 and 6 to basically win the game, and yay, Spider Tank with a Bloodfen Raptor for 3 mana. That's essentially what it is, right? This is a Spider Tank, that's a Bloodfen Raptor, and you got that on turn 3 for the price of 1 card and 3 mana. That ain't right. Luckily, we had a really, really, really strong early game, but yeah, you never want to see your opponent do that. I feel like the best players is just free kill with the Chow, put down the Jungle Panther, go face for 2, and then we're good. An alternative line would have been to double trade into the Totem Golem. The Amani would die, the Totem Golem would die. Let's see, and then the Volcanic Drake we're good for. No, we would have to kill off more stuff. No, it wasn't possible to get the Drake up. There we go. See, it's always good to go over it again. Make sure you're not messing anything up. So that's pretty good. We dealt with that the best we could. Now this turn is exciting. This turn is interesting because at first sight it's like I guess we go like tap Creeper. Or abuse of the Chow to kill the Totem Golem. But if you look deeper, there's actually a really fun line where we Abusive Sergeant the Blood Imp. The Blood Imp goes into the Totem Golem. Then the Jungle Panther kills the Harvest Golem, a trait you normally never want to do. But then the Zombie Chow can kill the damaged Golem. The Blood Imp will have died, the Totem Golem will have died, the first form of the Harvest Golem will have died, the second form of the Harvest Golem will have died, and the Jungle Panther dies at 5 minions. That means you can squeeze in your Drake for 1 mana and still develop Haunted Creeper. So that's a pretty good turn 4, wouldn't you say? Developing a 6/4, a Creeper, and an Abusive Sergeant. I'll take that, you know, I'll take that. That's pretty good. So this is one of the things we spoke of in the draft where we don't hate Volcanic Drake because sometimes it does this. The better you are at the game, the more often you'll find these lines where you can just squeeze it in. The better you are at board control, the more often you'll just have the resources available to use this card. So I feel like the Volcanic Drake just becomes better and better as you also progress as a player. So if you're still learning the game, probably not the best card to pick up, maybe in a mage deck with a flame strike or two. Still pretty efficient. Blow everything up, play a Drake for free. Alrighty guys, unfortunately he played a pretty good answer here. Here I feel like we have to play the Warlord first, so that we don't lose our minions to the AoE. Then double trade the minions that are going to die anyway into the Ghoul. There's no reason not to. And then, I mean, it's not very fun, but I would still put the Drake into the Acolyte. He's still on full health anyway. Because if that Acolyte hits into the Spider, your Spider dies. He gets 3 cards in total of the Acolyte, assuming we won't silence it for the last card. And that's just a little bit too much, right? Him getting 3 cards of an Acolyte, killing our Creeper. Yes, it's 6 damage to the face that we miss, but I mean, we're Warlock. This is how we win. We just clear board, outcard him due to our hero power later on. Oh man, some sick plays from the Shami incoming. Earth Shock to deal 1 AoE, popping spiders, but it gets silenced. Then hexing our Warlord, dealing another 1 AoE. So this was really dirty. We were like so far ahead, like basically nothing could stop us. And this guy just kind of cheated his way out of it with a Pyro. Obviously it's just good play, good thinking, but I call it cheating his way out of it because normally you can't do that. It's like he can't use a Hex and have perfect AoE and silence us. I mean, or he would have invested an extra card, a Lightning Storm as well. But hey, that's alright. We're still in it. We're still fighting. We haven't really lost yet. Cool. So Implosion onto the Totem seems like a play that we're always going to do here, simply because it can't fail. I mean, if you Implosion one of the other guys, they still only deal 2 damage, and you know, for your Pit Fighter it doesn't matter whether they kills a 2/2 or a 2/3. So it seems very natural to Implosion the Totem. And you could say we could play the Bloodguard, the Lieutenant or tap, but we're actually going to Implosion first here to see how many imps we hit. If we hit enough imps, say 3 to 4, we can afford to tap simply because we are running out of cards. So if we go and play the Lieutenant here, it's just gonna die to the Zombie Chow. So what we want to try and do is we want to use the Pit Fighter in the Mech Warper, use the Implosion on the Totem. If we only hit 2 imps, it's a bit too weak and we'll have to play Lieutenant, but now we're okay tapping. So just take out a Mech Warper, tap. Normally you never want to tap last, so technically we should have tapped before we attacked, but you know, the rope was there, and I'd rather have a decent execution than, you know, trying to go for the perfect execution and then still, you know, just ending up not tapping or not playing anything. That'd be a lot worse. Lightning Storm as well. So Cultmaster Lightning Storm, this guy just has a really, really, really high quality deck. Okay, so here Jormungandr seems like a decent play, big minion, but we actually haven't tested for a second hex yet. Now you might say, ooh, assuming he has 2 hexes, that's maybe a little bit too much. That's true, but also if we put down the Jormungandr, we are not tapping. So at this stage of the game, we kind of want to use our life tap because we're running out of cards. And second of all, the tap just suits the hand nicely. It will grow the Lieutenant, we'll play the Wrath card, and there's a chance we'll get another card that we can play. So we play the Lieutenant first to give him the health buff, then we put down the Wrath card, and here we make a bit of a fast decision, and we slam this Leper Gnome down kind of out of habit, you know, just being, oh, you know, we're Warlock, put it down. But what we just did is we gave him a decent trade with his Lance Carrier. He can now just take down our Leper Gnome and draw on a card. Now, you might, you know, it doesn't seem as bad as it looks, right? It doesn't seem as bad as it looks, whatever. It's not as bad as it seems here. Because you might say, whoa, you just gave him the option to draw a card. He could have suicided his Lance Carrier into our guy anyway to draw a card, right? So he could have done that suicide anyway. So it's not like we gave him a card by playing the Leper Gnome. What we did is we lost the Leper Gnome. We could have had a Leper Gnome next turn after we free killed the Lance Carrier. But then you could also make the argument that, hey, but what if your opponent had a Dark Iron Dwarf and he buffed up that Lance Carrier, took down your Wrath Guard for free, and now because you played that Leper Gnome, he had to trade into the Leper Gnome, otherwise the Leper Gnome would have killed the Cultmaster. So there's arguments for both sides. I'm not going to say that it's a big misplay, but I do think the more I look at it, the more I wish that we didn't play the Leper Gnome, because just having an extra card here would have been pretty good. Okay, so our opponent just has a really good deck. So far, just whipping out a ton of premium cards. I like this Horse Rider top deck. This means that we can just Horse Rider the Cult Master, use our life tap to grow our Bone Guard Lieutenant, use the Bone Guard into Zombie Chow, and then we'll have 5 power on the board to deal with the Fire Rally. If we put down the Jormungandr and Suicide into the Cult and he has a Hex or anything to deal with the Jormungandr, we lose on the spot, just pronto. So we'll life tap first, of course. Almost played the Horse Rider first, but here, there we go. Sequencing, pretty important. There we go. Don't worry, Lavs, the cavalry's here. We can kill the Cult Master for free, then put the Bone Guard into the Zombie Chow. And overall, it's still going kind of alright. This Zombie Chow, it's the second Chow we kill, I think. I'm not actually sure, but anyways. It's still going well. Like, we're getting healed, we're not completely out of it, even though our opponent had premium answers. That Cult Master, the Lightning Storm, the Fire Rally, now a Fire Guard, the Pyro with a Hex, which complete Pyro, Earthshock Hex, which was like 2 damage AoE, and kill your big guy. It's just pretty nutty overall, just nutty deck. Also just drawing them in the right order. But it's fun because we're not getting crushed. So these kinds of games are fun when you both have a strong draw. Then it's good. I mean, we're not gonna bullshit here. We had a Zombie Chow and a Blood Imp opener. That's pretty good as well. So both players have just strong decks with both strong draws, which gives us an interesting point of view. So here the life tap happens first because we were going to use the 3/2 into the totem, then play the Bomb Lobber, see which one it hits, and then sacrifice a 2/1 into whatever the Bomb Lobber hits. Now, and then of course you use 8 mana, so that's why we life tap. Now, because we drew into the Dwarf, it's actually kind of better to Dwarf the 3/3, kill the 6/5 guaranteed, put the 2/1 into the 0/2 and develop the Ogre. Because we are getting kind of low, and being guaranteed to kill the 6 power guy and just developing another 4/4, I think it's better, because if we play the Bomb Lobber, let's see, we trade in the 3/3 into the totem, Bomb Lobber, say it hits the 4/6, we trade in, he has a 6/5 versus a Bomb Lobber, a Dwarf, and a Lieutenant. It's clutch, right? The main argument here is the 6 damage from the Fire Rally is guaranteed removed, but another very good argument is that right now, we had a guarantee that we were able to deliver the Dwarf buff. And there the Hex is. Came from the far left, I believe. Let me just look it up quickly. Yeah, far left, the Hex. So if we had played the Jormungandr at any point earlier, we would have actually just lost to a Hex. So that's what I mean. This guy's deck is just nutty. There's so much synergy. It's just, it's annoying. 2 Hex, 2 Pyros, draws them both together and actually gets that insane clear. It's really annoying both times, but we were actually really happy here because we played around the Hex. We were like, oh yay, we played around the Hex, it mattered, awesome, cool. We're getting destroyed, but it's all good. Okay, so options here, guys, options. Oh, I was explaining earlier, we played the Dwarf because we weren't 100% guaranteed that we'd have a decent activator for Dwarf. And as it turns out, having a Dwarf here would have been a bit awkward because Ogre can miss. Sorry. So I feel like this is a better use. Here you might say, oh nice, we can just Dread Infernal, trade the Ogre in one of the other 2s and be over with it. But if we Dread Infernal and the Ogre doesn't hit any of these guys, which is roughly 25% chance, 1 out of 4 odds, you're dead. Just dead. Because he'll have 8 damage and we're going to have 8 HP. So that's not very good. So we're going to see what the Ogre wants to do here first. And after we have guarantee, like, okay, he hit into the guy that we wanted to kill, that's fine. Maybe we should have pointed at the 4/5. It was definitely a possibility, but by pointing at the 4/4, you still have the option of the Jormungandr. I don't know, it was pretty clutch. I think in the end, I would have probably pointed at the 4/5. You kind of telegraphed that you're going to play a Dread Infernal, though. Okay, there we go. And we didn't want to life tap here because we were already on 8 HP. So if our opponent draws, say a Rock Biter would have been dead if we tapped. Or Fire Ready, or a Lightning Bolt. Well, now we're still dead to Lightning Bolt because he rolled Spell Power, but okay. And Shattered Sun, so going face for 4 there, pretty nice by him. Okay, Siphon Soul. That's a pretty good card. Let's go over the options. If we have Dread Inferno here, we could Bomb Lobber here and have a 66% chance we'll hit a relevant target. Now you could also use your 6/6 into the 1/3 and then Bomb Lobber, but if you hit the 4/4 you're screwed. If we Bomb Lobber first here and we hit the 1 and 3, we have to kill the 4/4 and we're going down to 3 life, which isn't... No, we're going down to 1 life, excuse me, which isn't lethal, but it's still kind of bad. So we opt to use a Siphon Soul here to be a little bit safer, and we're gonna do the math here, right? If we Siphon Soul the 4/4, we're going to be at 7 life. If we hit the 3/2, and he hits us in the face, we'll have 6 HP. So therefore, we're going to life tap, putting us down to 4 again, but we have a decent chance of hitting a playable minion. Let's see, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. There's 10 playable things in the deck. 11 if you count the Soulfire. Now, obviously, we have drawn some of them, but just as a general overview, you know, out of how the deck, what the deck consists of, there's a decent-ish chance that whatever we tap into, we can still play. And if that's a minion that can contest the totem next turn, that means that you're going to take 1 damage now, but not an extra damage later, which means that you've kind of healed for 1 health and then dealt 2 in life tap. So it's clutch, right? It's to say, like, is it correct? Is it not correct to life tap here? I think it's correct. Because it might change whatever you do here, right? Piloted Shredder doesn't quite change anything. So Siphon Soul the 4/4, kill the 3/2, and then, yeah, we're on 5 health. He hits us, we go to 4. So pretty clutch, but there's still a Siphon Soul left in the deck. There's still a Dark Bargain left in the deck. We want to draw those things. There's still a Soulfire left in the deck. We also want to draw those things. All right. So Dark Bargain now would be amazing. Unfortunate. All right. So once again, let's do some math. I think right now there's 8 cards left in our deck. With 8 cards left in our deck, Dark Bargain and Siphon Soul being an out, you could say there is a 1 out of 4 chance that we are better off life tapping. Now, if you life tap and you have the Dark Bargain, you're still going to 1, which is not a great. Now, if you Bomb Lobber here, you have a 1 in 3 chance to hit the Town Totem, and you can then kill the Stormwind Champion. So mathematically, I think it's correct to use the Bomb Lobber here, have the 1 in 3 chance to hit the Town Totem rather than life tapping, and have the 1 in 4 chance to hit your Siphon Soul or your Dark Bargain. Because we do have 2 Siphon Souls in this deck. Alright guys, so I have to just believe in math here, throw out the Bomb Lobber. 33%er is not the most unlikely play. Obviously the odds are not in our favor here. But you know, when you're down this much HP, you kind of have to make a risky play. Alright. Now you can obviously see that we were debating a lot here. We were talking about the taps that we could do. But when the rope hits, we make the play that we think is the best. We do hit the Town Totem. Awesome. Kill the 6 and 6. Put down the Shredder. And we'll go to 2 HP. The opponent, he needs to top deck 2 damage in order to win the game. And he does, which is unfortunate. So if we hadn't life tapped, we would have had -1 Shredder in the hand. We would have been at 2 HP. He would have attacked. We would have had to double trade into his Argent. And then he would have had a 1 and 3. We would have drawn into the Shredder. And we're still at the mercy of his top decks. So I think the tap was correct. there is a decent chance that you hit something that you can actually play that turn. There is the argument that you are getting closer to your Dark Bargain and your Siphon Soul, which are undoubtedly going to be very useful during this endgame. So I think we made the correct call with tapping, and that's a very big skill. That's a very big, that's a very important skill you need to have in getting better at a card game. It's to not overanalyze things, and don't be sad if you made the right choice but it didn't work out. I always give this example of if you and your friend are going to play a game where you roll a dice. If he hits a 1 or a 6, he wins. If it's 2, 3, 4, 5, you win. Obviously, you have the better odds. But if he rolls a 1 or a 6 3 times in a row, are you going to tell yourself, ah, crap, I should have picked the 1 or the 6? Obviously, you don't do that because you have a 66% chance to win. He has a 33% chance to win. Now, obviously, when the numbers are out there and it's so obvious, it's very easy to say, okay, of course, Shady, you're right. It's just like he got really lucky. But you have to treat card games in the same way. It's like, if you're confident that you picked the line that had the highest chance of success, which we still believe the life tap had, don't beat yourself up over it. You know, shit happens, right? We were so far down in that game due to the double hex, double pyro, lightning storm, fire rally, fire guard, and cold master. It became a little bit too much after that. And then the top deck Stormwind champion as well. So it was just a really good deck, and our opponent played it well. Kudos to him. So just a little lesson I want to give you guys. Don't overanalyze stuff. Alright guys, thank you so much for watching. I will see you all tomorrow.